Shalom, Yasharallah. I want to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. And I'm going to get right into the video. It's going to be titled, Be Sober, Be Vigilant. Lay off the weed, lay off the drugs, lay off the pills, lay off the drink. Because essentially, this is based off of a video that was found about this brother named Keenan Anderson. Allegedly, he's one of the Black Lives Matter co-founders, Patrice Coolers. She proclaims that that's her cousin. And essentially, he got killed by the LAPD because of an interaction. Now, when y'all brothers watch this video, you're gonna clearly see that something's not right with the dude. He either had a mental illness, he either had something going on in his mind. But when y'all brothers actually do some research and you read upon it, and it'll tell you at the end, the brother was under the influence of drugs. And it's kind of ironic that I'm doing another video like this, because not even about 2 weeks ago, I did another video on a Jake who knew he was a Jake, but he also proclaimed to be a Moor or whatever. And essentially, bro got stopped by the police, could have easily got out of the car, did what they told him, and walked, and I had no issue. But a lot of Jakes, again, you don't know how to deal with the police when you're in these situations. You get emotional, or like this brother, you may be controlled or possessed by a specific spirit or a demon. Because when you taking these drugs, you doing the cocaine, you doing the molly, you popping, taking acid tabs, bruh. You getting drunk to the point where you can't function. You're letting demons control your mind. Why is it that you black out, but people will say, oh, you were still going out, oh, you were blackout drunk, but you were able to drive your car? Because there's something inside of you that's possessing you when your brain shuts off. And essentially, when you take these drugs and foreign substances and you put them into your body and you allow them to alter your mind, to a certain extent, you're allowing a spirit to come in and control you. Just like how the Most High said he would place his spirit in his elect and they will walk and do his law, statutes, and commandments. But you also have to understand that there are other dark spirits that can lead you and cause you to go to death. Before I get into this video, I actually want to read a scripture in the Apocrypha that speaks. All right, so this is the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 27. It says, all these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned into evil. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire, hail, famine, death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. So not only does the Most High, Yahawah, control the righteous spirits, the good angels, the angels of light, but he's also in full control of the dark spirits. And who's the head of the dark spirits? That would be Satan, right? So you have to understand that there are dark spirits that can come into your body at any time if the Most High allows it. So whenever you're getting drunk, whenever you're getting high, a lot of times when you get past the point of no return, you'll have certain spirits that can control you and alter your mind and alter your consciousness. And that's essentially what happened to this brother right here. Because to be quite honest with you, he didn't have to die. But because he didn't understand where he was and didn't understand what he was doing, he allowed himself to get into a bad situation. Because you want to know what's so funny about the vast majority of these situations? Not all the time, but a lot of these brothers, while the police may not be on our side, the police may discriminate. A lot of them could be white supremacists. A lot of these situations, the police ain't really doing anything out of the ordinary, but because Jake is either too scared, too emotional, or he's not in his right mind, he essentially gets killed. And that goes into a specific curse that the Most High will place upon us for our disobedience. We'll go to chapter 28, verse 29. I'll read verse 28. It says, the Lord will smite thee with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart. So many Jakes, especially when they get older, but even in this time, many of you so-called black men, you so-called indigenous natives, you so-called Hispanics, a lot of y'all, you are being received with many different plagues that are causing you to make stupid and terrible decisions, especially when you're in a situation where if you don't act right, it could potentially cause you to lose your life. Now, I don't want to keep rambling on. Let's watch this video. It's about 4 minutes long.
Hey, stop right there.
So look, that's the brother right
That's
there.
the wall.
Let's stop it. This is Keenan Anderson. This is the brother. You can see when you first look at it, right? You can tell bro's not in his right mind because he's walking diagonally across the intersection. And if y'all brothers do some research on it, essentially he was fleeing because I'm assuming he ran into another car. Again, y'all brothers can do and read and look up, you know, exactly the main details of what happened. But essentially, there was a report that a pedestrian called the police over because he was walking in the middle of the intersection. So what person in their right mind is gonna walk in the middle of the intersection unless they're homeless, they're bugged out, or they may be on hard drugs? And that's what this brother was on. So let's play it again.
Side here. Get on the street. Hey, stop right there. Get up against the wall.
I didn't need to.
Get up against the wall. Get up against the wall. Get up against the wall real quick.
And you can tell bro's not in his right mind because he said, get up against the wall. You know the reason why I'm really doing this video? Because I'm not going to sit here and say I did something like this, but I found myself in a situation like this. You want to know the reason why? Because before I came into the understanding, I used to be on drugs. Now, I wasn't on no meth or no crazy stuff like that, but I done popped some things. I done took a tab before. You know what I'm saying? I used to do many of these things, and I know the mind state that you're in when you're taking these drugs. You can tell he said, somebody's trying to kill me. Somebody's trying to kill me. Who's trying to kill you in broad daylight, bro? You know what I mean? Are you Alonzo on training day where you got Russian mobsters trying to get your head because you owe $4 million? Like, why is somebody trying to kill you? But whenever you getting hella high, a lot of times you get paranoid. Think about Smokey on Friday. Bro was always paranoid, tweaking like a little bird. Not even just that. If you look at the movie Hangover, them dudes, they had roofies spiked in their drink. They couldn't remember a damn thing. But I'm mainly bringing this out because even I myself, you know, when I used to take some of these things, I was not in my right mind. Your mind would start playing tricks on you. You start getting hella depressed. Yeah, you get a high for a little bit, but then you start to get paranoid. And when y'all look up the report, the dude was on some sort of cannabis, which more than likely he was on some type of weed. And we understand, especially where I'm from, he's from California. The weed out there is not like the normal weed that you have grown in Mexico or that you have grown in Jamaica. A lot of that weed is synthesized, meaning that there's a lot of foreign substances, a lot of fertilizers that make the weed more potent, and it makes you bug out more out of sorts than if you were just smoking normal weed. And you also have to understand that not everybody reacts to weed the same time. Some people be calm. Me, when I used to smoke weed, I would be paranoid as hell. I would hear cop sirens and I'd be nervous and scared because, you know, a lot of times these spirits can come upon you and plague you. And also when you read the report, the dude was on cocaine. And one of the aspects of being on cocaine is that you get very anxious. Your heart starts pounding. Your heart starts pounding. And that's also another reason why the brother passed away. All of this shit could have been avoided had he just stayed sober. That's why if y'all brothers listen to this, if you're a brother who's new, the first thing you want to do, and I'm going to get into the video, but the first thing that you need to do is you have to have a clear and sober mind, because this is not the place where you can just go on, get high, get drunk. No disrespect, bro, but you're not a so-called white man. You're not a Caucasian where many times you can go out and be drunk and be high and your life is not going to be a threat. And a lot of y'all who like to bitch and complain, why is it like that? We've already gone over this plenty and plenty of times. That's why we're giving the scriptures, so that way we understand the condition, the battle that we're in. But you got a lot of these jakes. This dude allegedly seems to be the cousin of the Black Lives Matter co-founder. He didn't learn shit. Out there getting high off the coke, off the weed. When a police officer came, dude didn't know where he was at. And you don't hear Black Lives Matter talking about, oh, you know, so-called black man, you need to be more aware of your surroundings. So-called black man, you need to be sober-minded. You need to be vigilant. All they're talking about is defund the police, Black Lives Matter, march for it, Black lesbian lives matter, and all this other shit, man, that quite honestly is not teaching these young men a damn thing but how to be a female and how to be a victim. And that's why the same stuff keeps happening repeatedly. And that's why it's not meant for the vast majority of our people to be saved, because for you to be saved, you have to have some sort of sense in your mind. And the vast majority of jakes out here, quite frankly, don't got it. So whenever you see stuff like this happen, you can't really be surprised, because at the end of the day, it's just judgment. Let's look into it.
Please.
Okay, hold on a second.
Please, sir. I didn't need to, sir. Please.
Hold on,
Please.
okay?
I'm sorry.
156.
Now you can tell when you look at the brother, he could be scared of the police. You can see, let me see if I can rewind it a tiny bit. You can tell he's kind of nervous, and I understand it. You know, I can understand it. You know, anytime a police officer might pull you over, you know you in the wrong, you feeling guilty that you might have did something wrong. Okay, cool. But again, this police officer was not doing anything to make that man fear his life. Again, we are emitters of energy, and the vast majority of people receive our energy. So if we're nervous, if we're out spiraling out of control, that same energy that comes off of us is going to come on to other people. If y'all brothers have ever been in a situation with a female, right, and you trying to bag her, when you nervous and anxious, you gonna make her nervous and anxious. Whereas if you cool, calm, and collected, she's gonna reciprocate your energy. And as a so-called black man, your energy, your spiritual energy is above any other race, any other quote-unquote race of people out there. So you gotta be able to control yourself. And the best way to control yourself is to be in your right mind. But let's keep going.
156, show me code 6 on a TC not involved.
And you see right there, it says traffic collision not involved. So he's reporting that there was a collision. So potentially, I'm not 100% certain, but the brother might have gotten in a collision. He might have been high as hell, high as a kite, hit something. And because he was high off a kite, he didn't stay in the car. He got out of the car like an idiot. And he's, you know, let's see what happens.
Please.
We're going to be Venice, west of Lincoln.
Oh my God.
DUI driver.
Possible DUI, driving under the influence.
The car.
Okay, what happened?
I lost my key.
You lost your key?
Yes. I came and I had somebody fix my car for me, sir. Please, please,
okay,
sir.
do me a favor. Sit in
please.
Hey, sit down on your butt.
You can tell this dude is bugged out. You can tell this dude's bugged out. So listen what he said. He said my car. Obviously, the police officer reported an incident, but he said my car, I lost my key. This nigga is bugged out. You can tell he's bugged out. You can tell he's bugged out. Have somebody come and fix him. He don't even know where he's at. And I know the report said he was on cocaine, but I'm gonna keep it real. He could have been on something way stronger than cocaine. He could have been on that white girl. He was on the white girl, but he could have been on that Molly Karam. I'm talking about Molly. I'm talking about ecstasy. Because that stuff will make you start thinking and seeing stuff, bro.
Crossed. Sit with your legs crossed.
They're gonna try to kill me, please.
Who's trying to kill you?
I had a stunt today.
I had a stunt today. You a movie actor, bro?
You had what?
You trying to, you know, get a film for the Black James Bond movie? The reason why I'm getting on the brother is because you can tell he's not in his right mind. And to be quite honest with you, the police officer can see that. And the police officer is trying to give him grace and not act like how most of these police officers gonna act when they see a so-called black man in the streets who's high on drugs.
That's not, like, no, that's a car.
Okay, what car were you driving?
BMW.
The BMW.
They're trying to put stuff in my car.
Who's trying to put stuff in your car?
They're gonna try to. Please.
Stay down for me. Hey,
please.
Hey, stay
Please.
here.
Look.
Stay here.
You see? He said sit down. The dude wanted to get up because he doesn't know where he's at right now. He's nervous.
Sir, I need some water. Can you get some water? Please.
Stay here. I'll get you some water here in a second.
And he said, I
okay?
need some water. I'm going to be honest. And I know from experience. Whenever somebody says I need some water, it's probably because they're on Molly. Just keeping it real. They might be on some type of ecstasy, some type of Molly. They can't breathe and they need some water because that shit will hit you hard and you don't know where you at.
Just have a seat up against the wall there,
yes,
okay? Have a seat against the wall.
Sir,
have a seat against the wall here.
Everybody got to see me, sir.
Have a seat
I don't want
against
to
the
be in the
wall
black
over here.
I want people to see me.
Sure. Okay, you can
Please,
sit right there then. If you want to be seen, sit right there.
No, I don't want to sit right there.
Sit right there if you want to have somebody see you.
Please.
Okay?
Please.
Just sit down for me a second here, okay?
Please, look, sir.
Sit down for me. Sit down.
Putting a thing on me.
Sit down. I'm not. Just sit down for me a second here, okay?
Please, look, sir.
Sit down for me. Sit down.
Putting a thing on me.
Sit down. I'm not putting anything. Come here. Sit down over here.
Please.
I don't want you in the road. Come here. I don't want you in the road.
And then the dude said, you putting a thing on me, making me feel hot. Again, just based off of what he's saying, in my opinion, it seemed like he popped the Molly, bro. I'm just being real. Y'all can look up the symptoms of what it feels like if you're on Molly. And many of the things that he's talking about, he's basically, you know, hitting it right on the spot. He's on something.
Come here. Come here.
And
Come here.
Look, he running away. And again, Black Lives Matter be like, oh, wait, there's no... Bruh, when you're in America and you decide you want to not listen to the police, don't want to follow the instructions, but you want to run off, you're giving them an open invitation to kill you. And like I said, in no way am I condoning the man dying. But at the end of the day, he put himself in that position. And a lot of people might want to blame the cops. A lot of people want to blame the system. A lot of people want to blame the officer in question and all this. But at the end of the day, the person who's in the most control of his life outside of the Most High is you, yourself, and you. Straight up. So again, if he never put himself in that position by doing something stupid, he may not have gotten that position. And I'm not in no way saying that I'm perfect, because I'm not saying I've been in that man's position, but I have been in a position where I was on something. And I'll tell y'all a story. This is not to, speak on me, but using it as an example. I remember one time, I had popped something with this chick that I used to talk to. And, we was feeling good and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, a wave of emotion came on me. And I just immediately left. So, I drove about 20, 25 minutes from her house back to where I was staying at the time, high off a drug, high off of a very potent drug. And, the drug make you want to listen to music real loud. So, I got to my house unscathed, thank the Most High. But when I got to my environment, I was bumping music. I was bumping Travis Scott, where my grandma lives, in the middle of the section, living with nothing but so-called Asians and predominantly a white neighborhood in a nice area, because my grandma, she used to live in a nice area. This isn't the hood where you can just bump your stuff at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning and think that nobody's going to come and say nothing to you. So essentially, there was a report, there was a call. And it turns out a police officer was pulling in. So I was parked, I was parked on the side of the road, but I wasn't in no parking spot. So I went to park my car where I normally park. And then the police officer came, he followed me. And unfortunately for me, because I was tweaking, and he was going to come up to the car and ask me about me, I opened the door and came out with my hands up, just like him. And the police officer said, no, get back in your car. He talked to me. He was like, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I live here. I gave him my ID because that's where I live. And he let me go. But had he actually did some, checking, had he actually went into and see what was in my blood, I can almost guarantee you I would have gotten arrested and I would have gotten charged. And it could have potentially messed my life up. Or had he been a real serious police officer, a police officer who don't like niggas, who knows what could have happened? I could have gotten beaten. He could have shot me. Who knows? But by the grace of the Most High, I made it through even before I even knew who the Most High was. So at that day, I had to take accountability for my actions because I was so close to ruining my life. But I share that because it all started with me. The same thing going on with this brother. The fact that he's high off of whatever he's high off of, he ruined his life. Let's continue to watch it.
Come here. Now! Get out over there! Turn over on your stomach right now! Turn over on your stomach right now! Turn over! Turn over!
And you see, the cop was being nice. He said, please. But then he's like, look, I've been nice to this dude. He still don't want to listen. He high off of something. Now he got to get forceful. Now he got to get aggressive. Now let's actually go into the part where the dude got tased, because the police officer tased him.
Over! Please!
Let me rewind it a little bit.
Please don't do this, sir! Please! Help me, please! You know what? Help me, please! No, please help me! Help me, please! Please!
Keenan, relax! Keenan, relax!
Help! They're trying to kill me! Hey,
Stop, I'm gonna tase you! Stop it, I'm gonna tase you! I'm gonna tase you! Stop it right now! Stop it right now! Turn over! Turn over, I'm gonna tase you! Turn over, I'm gonna tase you! Turn over, I'm gonna tase you!
Yes.
Watch your elbow, partner.
You're trying to do it for me. You're trying to do it
Stop
for
it!
me.
Stop it, or I'm gonna tase you! Okay, stop it, or I'm gonna tase you! Stop it, or I'm gonna tase you!
Stop resisting.
Please stop resisting!
Please!
I'm gonna tase him! I'm gonna tase him!
And you see why he tased him? Because if you notice, he tried to get back up.
Please!
You see right here, look. He tried to get back up. The officer was on top of him, trying to roll him over so they could cuff him. And he tried to get back up. So then the officer tased him. It is what it is.
Tase him! I'm gonna tase him!
They're trying to kill me! They're trying to kill me! Give me low!
Stop it! Stop it. Stop it.
Yes, sir.
Don't resist.
No.
Now look, at the end, basically, long story short, he tased him a few more times. They cuffed him, and then the brother eventually died. Now we can sit here and debate on, did he tase him too much? But at the end of the day, if you're in a police officer's position, and I'm saying this as a so-called black man, I look not the same as him, but I'm the same color, from the same background as this dude right now. At the end of the day, in that situation, what do you expect? And that's the reason why that's the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because at the end of the day, you're going to have all these people, you might have a protest, and he's saying, oh, he didn't deserve to die. You can even see it on Twitter. But look at what happened. Let's watch the end of the video. It's going to show you some of the, what was contained in his blood. The brother died. You see him right there. Right here, it says, any death of a person in the custody of the department is defined by policy as a categorical use of force. In accordance with that policy, LAPD's Force Investigation Division assumed investigative responsibility for this incident upon learning Anderson had been pronounced deceased. All right, this is it right here. It says, on January 5th, 2023, LAPD Forensic Science Division conducted a preliminary toxicology. The laboratory reports concluded that each of the specimens tested positive for cocaine, metabolite, and cannabinoids. So again, the brother was high off a blunt, he was high off of something, and he was doing cocaine. And cocaine is a hell of a drug. Again, that shit will have you paranoid. It will have you start hearing stuff. Not maybe to that point, but who knows how much he had did. And on top of the fact he's high, and weed make you paranoid a lot of times. So when you see a police officer, you don't know how to act. You start thinking that people is out to get you. And just like I said, me personally, the way the brother was acting, it looked like he was on some Molly. That's how I feel about it. Just from, seeing other people, personal experience, etc. But the reason why I'm doing this is because it's unfortunate the brother died. But I want, and he can't hear this. He can't learn from this. But if you're a brother who struggled with this, if you're a brother in the world, first time watching the video, you have to be sober-minded. You have to be vigilant. Let's pull out some scripture. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And ultimately, we're in the hands of our enemies. And in that situation, the police officer wasn't really even doing nothing crazy. But we may be in a situation where things may be way worse. We may be in a situation where we're not high, where we're not drunk, and we didn't do anything wrong. And again, we might be in that position, but we're going to have a much better opportunity of knowing what to do and what to say and how to act when we're sober-minded and we're vigilant, and when we're high off a kite, high off of a bean, high off a perky. And that's why you can't really get too involved in this music, because this music, it casts spells to keep the people inundated with all these substances that you're not in your right mind. And even if you think you're in your right mind physically, I've never met a brother who's high off of weed and who's actually serving the Most High in spirit and in truth. I haven't seen it. They either got a false doctrine, they don't follow the commandments, because at the end of the day, the only time you're supposed to be taking cannabinoids is to heal something. If you smoking it, it's altering your mind. And that's essentially going to allow those spirits to come into you. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 1. This 1 Peter chapter 1, it says, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you as the revelation of Yahawashi. So you have to gird up your loins, because the way that Satan can get to you, he can't get to you physically for the most part, but he can always get to you mentally, psychologically, and spiritually, whether it be through the phone, whether it be through the drugs, through the music, through different philosophies and ideologies, through the victim mindset, you being extremely emotional. You have to be able to gird up your loins and stay sober-minded and not allow those plagues to consume you. Because once those plagues consume you, you become a bug out, you lose sense of reality, and eventually you potentially might lose your life. Let's also go to 1 Corinthians 6. All right, this is 1 Corinthians 6 and 19. It says, what, know you not that in your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have of the Lord, and not of your own? For you are bought with a price, therefore glorify the Most High in your body and in your spirit, which are the Lord's. So at the end of the day, the Most High is truly working with you and dealing with you. He put his spirit in your body. So you're supposed to take care of your body, not eating any unclean foods, not partaking in any wicked, exercise and things like that. But mainly, you don't want to put all these foreign substances in your body, because again, that's going to allow certain spirits and certain demons to come in and take control of you. And at the end of the day, that brother was not in his right mind. It's probably spirits talking to him, because sometimes in drugs, you start hearing voices. And they could be voices in your mind, but they can also be voices of certain demons that may be trying to come and attack you, you know? So it is what it is, you know? So it's unfortunate that the brother passed away. I'm sure we're going to be hearing about this on the news. It could be a ritual, who knows? But regardless, it was a real situation that happened, and the brother did lose his life. So brothers need to be sober. Put down the weed, bro. Put down the drugs, especially those two. When I first came into to have some sort of understanding, the first thing I did was purge my body of them hardcore drugs. Now with weed, it took me a little bit of time. With drinking, and now drinking is lawful, y'all understand that. But being drunken, like being in a drunken state, being a drunkard, getting drunk, high, drunk as hell, and blacking out, that's going all the way off. The Most High hates drunkards. But what I'm talking about is those other, you know, them pills, prescriptions, those things that put you in a different zone. You don't want to be doing that. And even for those of y'all brothers who think weed is permissible, weed is going to allow certain anxieties, paranoia, and certain spirits to come on you. And I promise you, your spirit is going to get defiled in one way or another by constantly doing stuff like that. So I want to give our praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Until next time, it's the brother Ash Ibai signing out.